Well, the appalling butchery, murder, rape, etc., inflicted by Hamas on those poor women, girls, and people and families there outside Gaza, and the Israel's absolutely correct retaliation and determination to wipe out Hamas. Well, this has sparked a wave of anti-Semitism that we haven't seen since the Holocaust itself. As we've been saying on the show, university students are ditching class to avoid the abhorrent hatred. Well, this is what we've seen because of what's been happening in the universities. Some students are just having to leave. Jewish students are having to leave. Joining us to discuss all of this from the States, Salem News Channel host Julie Hartman. Julie, welcome to Outsiders. Great to have you on the show. We've had lots of people telling us they'd love to see you on our show. So thank you for coming on this morning. We've been talking about that letter to the Osama bin Laden letter. What's your take on what that? You've been a strong critic of American tertiary education. What's your take on it all?
Well, I am appalled by it, obviously, but I can't say that I'm surprised, having recently graduated from college and seeing the kind of indoctrination that is funneled at us daily. You know, on your analysis just a few minutes ago, which, by the way, was hilarious, it was both hilarious and also very depressing. You were talking about how Osama bin Laden, there was a line where Osama bin Laden was essentially saying that he disapproves in the strongest terms of homosexuality. And that always amazes me, how so many of these woke crusaders who are very big into gay rights and trans rights seem to support people like Osama bin Laden, Hamas, many of these leaders, which would and do eradicate gay people. And I think that indicates that there is a doublethink. There is such a contradictory way of thinking that is manifest among college students. That's one of the examples, but we see it with regard to every single issue. We see it with, the left is very pro-women, but then they won't define what a woman is. That's right. They say that drilling for fossil fuels is bad, but drilling for electric-powered vehicle parts is good. So I just want to point out this double thing that we have to highlight in order to combat.
Absolutely. Rita?
Well, there is this hierarchy of victimhood, isn't there, with the left? And it looks like Islamists are on top of the LGBT community when it comes to this, because when those two values clash, we know who's winning. Has there been much of a fight back in the US on university campuses? Because I know it's shocked a lot of the donors just how deep-seated this hatred is. Has there been a counteroffensive?
There has, in some ways, yes. At my own alma mater, Harvard, we have seen CEOs like Bill Ackman, he's a Harvard alum, be very forceful in his condemnation, of the students. We've seen donors at the University of Pennsylvania pull their money. But frankly, I view this as too little, too late. Although I'm very happy with the donors and with the individuals who are finally taking a stand. My question for them is, why has it taken you until now to identify this cancer?
Absolutely.
But
James.
Also, Julie, I'm just wondering, about whether or not, because a lot of what we've seen here, and, we're very, very big free speech, anti-cancel culture people on this show, but stuff that we have seen, really intimidating demonstrations. We saw that incident at Harvard where there was a bunch of students who surrounded a Jewish student and were screaming shame, shame, shame at him, not letting him leave. There were some really bad incidents where students were basically prevented from going to class at MIT. At MIT the other day, the administration basically admitted that they wouldn't suspend any students who participated in these things because it might jeopardize their visa status. Does this tell us that the tail, I guess, is maybe wagging the dog a bit when it comes to discipline and actually creating the safe space that these campuses claim to be, where microaggressions are policed, but really blatant, violent, threatening anti-Semitism is, well, we're going to let that one slide because we wouldn't want to jeopardize anybody's visa.
Yes, it's another great example of the doublethink that I was trying to highlight earlier, where we see so many contradictions. Again, this focus on safe spaces, but then if it's a Jewish student that is being taunted and harassed, that student doesn't need a safe space. It is It is ridiculous. It is sick. And what it indicates is that these individuals who are social justice crusaders, they don't believe in anything. Again, this contradictory element of their thinking indicates that their ideology is hollow. It is a rancid, anti-Semitic, bigoted ideology. And even to call it an ideology is giving it too much credit. It is hollow. And we need to recognize that, again, in order to combat it.
And Julie, I'll just play you this clip. You're absolutely right on the doublethink. And we've been talking on the show earlier about how where are the women's marches? Where are the women's support, the Me Too movement, talking, supporting all those horrific women, all those horrific things that happened to the poor women and girls on October 7th. Just have a look at this news clip.
The women we saw were not just killed, they were cruelly mutilated in many parts of their bodies.
Women's groups say the humiliation women experienced as they were paraded through the street, thrown on the backs of motorcycles, and degraded either before or after they were killed at the festival. That also constitutes gender-based violence.
So on your doublethink, Julie, where are all the pop stars? Where are all those influencers, those Hollywood celebrities, the usual women we hear endlessly from the moment, some man has said the wrong thing or whatever? Where are they in terms of what happened on October 7th?
Well, here's the deal. Women's groups, I'm putting that in quotation marks, care about women the way that communists cared about workers. They didn't care about women. Women's groups don't care about women. And we see this here in the United States. LGBTQ groups are pro-Palestine. They don't care about LGBTQ individuals. If they did, they would be condemning Hamas. Black Lives Matter claims to want to protect and defend Black people in this country. But the policies that they have implemented have ruined Black communities. So again, these groups are hollow, shallow shams of groups, and they speak in the name of these groups, women, Black people, LGBTQ, in order to get power. They manipulate those groups, those minority statuses, and claim to care about them, really to bolster themselves personally and professionally. That's really what's going on.
100%. Julie Hartman, thanks so much for coming on Outsiders. We'll chat to you again. It's been a real pleasure having you here on the show.